Hello, 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 everyone. How are we doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another episode of The Keisha King Show. I am your host, Keisha King, and we're going to be talking about a few things. So, we're going to discuss this major update that I found with this Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf case. And we're going to also be talking about how this affects families, in particular Black American families, because this story makes me think about the family. What happened in this family in particular? What is happening across our country to many Black families that, I mean, if we're just honest and we take a look around, it ain't going so well as on the family front. But I'll explain more of what I mean. Um, so welcome to all of these new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for finding my voice valuable. Hello on Instagram, hello on YouTube, hello on Twitter. Um, what we do over here on the Keisha King Show, I don't like to do just kind of the surface level stuff. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know I kind of try to zoom out to assess what's really at the root. That's kind of my nature. I try to I look at the root of issues and try to see how we can solve problems. I don't really like to just keep talking about the same thing over and over with no real solution. So I'm a solution oriented person. And so I tend to try to go a bit deeper on things because the surface level is just not going to give what we need to give. So, let's see here. Hey, Jesus loves you. K Mac, how are you? Hello, hello, hello. Let's see. All of you on Instagram, and let's see. I can't see my Twitter thing right now, but hello to you on Twitter as well. Okay, so here's this crazy update that I found while scrolling around on Twitter. Um I'm going to share my screen with you and y'all tell me if this is not major breaking news. Um Maybe I'm tripping, that I could be tripping. I might just be doing a little too much. But look at this and tell me what you think. All right. So, I am sharing my uh-oh, hold on. Let me get my little background going here. Okay. So, let me make this bigger for you. Okay. So Amelia Mugavero is in Texas and she reported on the Carmelo Anthony case. So let me read to you what she wrote and then retracted. New information. New information about the investigation into the stabbing death of a 17-year-old Frisco student athlete. CBS News Texas has learned from law enforcement sources involved in the investigation that 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, pictured to the left, the suspect in the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, had previously been suspended for bringing a knife to school. Well. Law enforcement sources tell us that 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony should have been in class at Centennial High School and was skipping school yesterday when he allegedly stabbed Austin following an altercation. We have not received a response from Frisco ISD to that information. Now, I had heard rumblings about this, but I did not think it was true because I didn't really see it widely reported. And, I just didn't. Y'all know how the media is. I didn't see it, didn't think it was true because didn't really hear much about it. Well, this gentleman here, James Wolverton on Twitter, asked Amelia, "Is this accurate?" And she responded. She said, she says, look at this. She says, "Yes, all this information was given to us from a very reliable source close to the investigation." Now, as a former someone who has done media, I'm not a journalist, but I've done a lot of media, conservative pundit commentary, whatever you want to call it. And when someone's and my background is in my education background is in marketing, so I'm very, I can read between the lines really well, and you know people use certain words to try to say certain things. I understand all that media jargon when they're trying to spin you. Now, when a journalist says a very reliable source close to the investigation, in these days and times, that doesn't necessarily mean a legitimate close to the investigation source. It could be somebody. I mean, the journalists have gotten extremely liberal with how they do journalism. But considering that she answered and she gave us what she knows, I tend to think that she's giving us the real deal here. So she says, yes, all this information was given to us from a very reliable source close to the investigation. However, the school district has chosen not to reply to our questions regarding this information. Therefore, we have pulled the info temporarily in order to allow the school district time to respond accordingly. Um, I think that that is a big deal. I don't know about you. Do you guys think that that's a big deal? Because it seems very odd for a young man to just all of a sudden get pushed or, get into it with a teammate, being a football player, a track player, being in sports, and just come out and, you know, pull out a shank. That's a leap. You jumped out the window on that one, okay? Like you wilding. You're doing too much, as the young people say. And so I'm just like, this helps me in understanding and trying to understand, like, what was going what is going on in the home, because if he was suspended from another altercation, why wasn't his stay-at-home mom, like, what happened here? Why was this child able to just kind of maneuver around his parents if he had been suspended? Was it the same knife? Was did the school, I'm sure the school, and actually during um the what was it, the case where, not the case, but during his bail hearing, that's what it was. His father did testify that he had gotten in a some kind of incident that happened in school. Police were not involved, but it was handled internally. And basically the father was basically like, "Oh, nothing really, nothing much happened." But again, because of the work that I've been doing over these last few years, I have seen, even in my city where I live, the school police officer be in trouble and us having to um, change the school police staff because they were literally hiding felonies that were happening. Okay, and I live in a conservative city. Um, but there were over 130 could have been even more, of felony incidents that had been happening in the schools. So parents were not being notified. Um, the public was not being notified of these felonies, assaults, and violence that was happening in the schools. So this is not for the school to be like, oh, we were just gonna sweep that under the rug. We're not really gonna make it a big deal. His parents know, that the child knows, but that you know, it's not really uncommon, is basically what I'm trying to say, for schools to be sweeping stuff under the rug. But it lends to his background, his history. Jesus Loves You says, I'm confused too. How somebody comes from a home with a mother and a father who are married go this far. Something's going on in that house. I'm thinking the father is weak. I have tea for you on that as well, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But yes, other information that I managed to find just from being nosy, you know, um, about their relationship. Because first of all, it was really odd that she didn't, when she, you know, did her press conference or whatever, and she didn't say Kayla Anthony. Like, why would you use your maiden name? But anyway, I have sent an update on that for you as well, that I think sheds more light. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this reporter, reporting on the knife and then saying, okay, we're going to retract this because the school will not confirm or deny this incident? And to me, when you say you don't want to talk about it, it kind of lends to it. You probably he probably did it because this is a separate case. It has nothing to do with these are two separate things. So it's not like they couldn't talk about it. Like, why would the school not be able to talk about it? Um, you have to tell me how to pronounce your handle again. I forget. Simonu. I forget. Carmelo Anthony should be sentenced to life in prison. We're going to I think he's going to be sentenced. If not life, it depends. We need to finish hearing what all the, all the testimony, all the evidence and all of that. But if things are going the way we kind of think they're going, there's still no video. There's still we have a long way to go. I think that these people are trying to they want him to be OJ 2.0. That is what I think. They're trying to get this more media attention with this Dominique. That's a whole nother story. With this Dominique Alexander, he mentions 16 the current occupant at 1600. He's trying to draw that. The only reason he said that is because he's trying to get Trump to respond. If Trump responds, it becomes an even bigger case. That he's trying to make this a national case. Deborah says the district attorney came out last week and said life in prison and the death penalty is absolutely off the table. That is true. That's right. I forgot about that. He did say that life in prison, because probably that means that he has some information that would, it would be silly for them to try to charge a manslaughter, I'm sorry, like a first degree murder that would draw death penalty or life in prison. But he will probably it will probably be a lengthy sentence. If the evidence in what, if things remain exactly the same of what we see and what we know, he's probably going to jail for a very long time. Unless something comes out, that changes all of that. Yep, that's true. Jesus Loves You. He did say that Bad. That's off the table. What the hell? The Anthony family should be held accountable for raising a bad kid. Well, I mean, that's I I think they will be held accountable, but not in that sense. Like they're going to have their lives are destroyed. You know, who's going to after this like nobody first of all, I don't want to live near you because I don't know what you got going on with the mother children that you're raising. So it's going to be very hard, for them to live a normal life. This is going to take years for people to get out of the system, get it out of people's systems and all of that kind of stuff. So they are definitely trying to make this to make this a race thing. And this is on both sides. So there's this group. I'm not, I was debating, like, do I want to talk about it? I'm not gonna give much attention to it because it was absolutely stupid. There was this group claiming to be conservatives, and they were like, oh, eh, they were trying to make it a race thing as well. Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff, was like, please, don't use my son's name or his photos to promote your nonsense. Like they were trying to make this about race. You you can tell it wasn't about race. Like it wasn't a black kid who didn't like a white kid. I think it is a black kid who did not have control over his emotions. He didn't have his father and not taught him how to properly handle himself if somebody, shoves you or pushes you. And so this boy, like many other young black boys, are out of control. That's the real problem. Young men and young black boys are out of control. And it is something that needs to be dealt with. So let's see, let me get my notes here. Let me play this for you. So this is Dominique, who goes by Neek. On Twitter, his handle is Neek. How you doing? Okay. Right, y'all. Um,
And I'm gonna say this again, and this is for everybody. Black people in America, while the current occupant sits at 1600 Pennsylvania, black people in America don't have to pull the race card. It's what we live as a reality every day. It's what we have to teach our children. We don't want to, but we have to. We don't like to, but if we want to sleep at night, we got to.
Hi, Lady B. Lady B says, lock him up and throw away the key. I certainly don't want to live around him. I don't know many people who want to be around unhinged anybody. People, this guy, this Dominique guy, is, I don't know what world he's living in because he's doing that thing that LeBron James was doing. He's trying to act like we live in 1875 and every time a black person goes out of their house, which didn't even happen like that in 1875, that everywhere we go and everything that we do is just scrutinized and we can't even get out of bed, without a white person breathing down our neck, which is absolutely false. Dominique knows that. LeBron James knows that. Pretty much every black person in America knows that. But the brainwashing that makes you see something that's not there, that's what people see. That's what they see. Well, Carmelo's father is a big deal. What do you mean? You uh how would his father, like, how would he pay for that? Are you saying, like, you think he should, like, the parents should, like, go to jail or something? Like, help me understand where you're coming from. But this idea that Black people are just, every time we get in a car, we're going to be pulled over by the police. Every time, a white person steps out of their house, they are always thinking about Black people. They're not. Here's a message for all Black Americans, okay? White people ain't thinking about you like that. They have their own problems. Shocker. I know you think that they are like some special, a different type of human being. You probably think that because you think you're some type of special human being. You're not. You're not. Even your melanin that you so proud of, they have melanin too. You're no different. Sorry to bust your bubble. They have their own problems. They're trying to keep their kids safe. They will they're trying to figure out, what they're going to do for their retirement. They're trying to figure out how they're going to get their kids through school or with a trade. They're trying to figure out how to maneuver life just like everyone else. I guarantee you're not on the top of their list of concerns, unless maybe you're Carmelo Anthony trying to move next door. They ain't thinking about you at all. All right, Lady B says he will most definitely strike again. He needs to do some time to hopefully get his thoughts right, to think about the situation impacted not just him but others as well. Listen, I think a person that responds like that, I, I I don't have a problem with him being in prison for life. I'm just saying, under the law, certain crimes, um, they dict certain crimes. You can only, be punished. You want the punishment to fit the crime, and that's what, you know. Lady B says, is it just me? But every time I see Carmelo in public, he just looks like he's not there. I don't know if it's an actor, or if he's scared because he realizes he effed up. At first, when I first saw his mugshot, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I thought, well, okay, he doesn't look like those dead-eyed, that dead eye, that look like there's nothing there. But I feel like the more this has gone on, he has gotten that look. But this is, this is not, I don't think this wasn't the first picture that I saw. The first picture that I saw wasn't that. It was another one. And he looked like he had been crying a little bit. And the officer in the police report did say he had been crying. But I feel like this picture here, he does have that nothing behind his eyes look, which is so creepy. Excuse me. It is creepy. So legally, I wanted to touch on legally. Let me show you guys this. Okay, Kathy Hart says, hi, Kathy. Like feminism, Blackness has been psychologized. It makes for constant media coverage and doom scrolling for victims and no God. It very much is. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was wondering, which is more harmful to America? The whole race thing, Blackness, whiteness, Black bodies, white bodies, that whole detachment, you're just a Black blob, you have to think this way if you're Black, you have to act this way, you have to behave this way if you're Black, you have to look this way and act this way if you're white, that whole thing. Or feminism. Which one has been more destructive? And I don't know I was kind of leaning towards feminism because I think feminism, which we're going to get into it in a bit, feminism creates this kind of guy. Feminism, we it does so many things. Like think back to the garden. Um w- Sorry, y'all. Lady B says, let's see, try to put these up. Right, this looks different from how he looks in public. Now he looks confused or just disassociated. Could be. I mean, he could be. Manu, yours, Manu. The first time I looked at Carmelo's mugshot, I thought he looked like a heartless person. I understand. And I just wanted to show this one too. Like feminism, blackness has been psychologized. It makes for constant media coverage and doom scrolling for victims. And no God, agreed. But which one do you guys think is worse, feminism or blackness, whiteness, that whole thing? On Instagram over here, skipping ain't easy. Hello and welcome back. She says, shows parents had absolutely no control of that boy. And some guy says, no, it's normal for blacks to do that. Well, it's a small percent of black people. It's like 2% of black men that are causing all this craziness. So it's not a majority, it's not the norm, but it is not pushed back against. It's lifted up. It's not condemned and shamed and mocked, throughout, for most people, most blacks. Let's see. Karmelo will do at least 10 years in prison. Skipping ain't easy says over on Instagram. She said they all look so pitiful. Dominique definitely can't be a real lawyer. He's not a lawyer. He is not a lawyer. I heard someone else say this, like Dominique Alexander, the con man, the BLM guy, the Next Generation Action Networks, the Timu Al Sharpton, which is bad because Al Sharpton was already Timu. So, baby, you doing bad. You down bad. Let's see. Cutting Max says, thank you. Every other post on social media is about what white people are thinking about. Oh, yeah. Well, they ain't thinking about they're not. I know one thing. They're not thinking about black folks like that. Okay. Prudence. Hi, Prudence. She says late but happy to catch you. I appreciate your insights. Thank you so much. Skipping and he says he's being taught not to be accountable and to blame others for something he did. It'll take more than jail time to change that. That is a whole fact. Skipping and he says feminism and blackness go hand in hand. That is a true statement. I think that's true. I think that's the right way to look at it. Oh, hey, stimulated student. Stimulated student says feminism brings out the worst of men and women. I think it's the worst thing that happened to the West. I agree, but I think it goes hand in hand. I'm with Skipping and Easy. I think it goes hand in hand because it's kind of like one. They all kind of beget each other. Like once we started down the feminist road, then Adam's like in the garden. He's like, oh, that wasn't me, that was her, then the blame game. So the victim mentality comes in. So that beget the victim. And then now we got, it's just a whole hot mess. They all, I guess they do all kind of go, hand in hand, I would say. Because think about this, y'all. The sexual revolution, the free love, the feminist revolution, the Civil Rights Act, or the Black People Are Oppressed Act. It all happened around the same time. All of these things were happening at the same time. Abortion became illegal. All of those terrible things were happening at the same time. I know y'all heard me say the Civil Rights Act, and I say terrible. You're going to say, why is that terrible? For those who don't who are new, because we have a lot of new people. Thank you again for coming and watching. Um, watch our show on Sunday where I do with cutting through the code. I do a show with Chado Jackson, Blanchard Robinson, and Teach 'em Chuck. We do a show. It's called Cutting Through the Culture. It's on Chado Jackson's channel, and you will see why we are not happy with the Civil Rights Act. The Life and Time says it's wild because the family doesn't have to say anything, but they're choosing this show voting activist nonsense. True, because at first I was like, that's pretty good that they haven't said anything, because most of the time, y'all know, when these things happen, these types of stories where the race thing is brought in and it's everything is being blamed on race, the parents tend to run to the cameras and start, demanding reparations and all kind of stuff. Like, so I was like, okay, they didn't run to the cameras. Maybe this isn't going to be crazy. But no, it is worse. It is crazy worse. And then they have this guy, this Dominique, how you doing? Who is a criminal. Let me show you his everything that he's been involved in. Take a look at this. Watch this, y'all. Uh, remove and okay, look at this. Let's see. Dominique Alexander, and thank you to what is her Sarah? What is he? Sarah Fields, I think her last name is. The one that Dominique is trying to act like is harassing him, but she's got all the receipts. But listen to everything that has been his record. Felony injury to a child. He shook the child so hard that the child had a brain hemorrhage. Okay. Child lived, but they had some major brain injuries. Forging a check, leading police on a high speed chase, stealing a car, falsely claiming a car was stolen, offensive physical contact, probation violations, felony theft of property, $2,500 to $30,000 in 2016, felony assault causing serious bodily injury in 2019, misdemeanor assault, continuous violence against a family, theft, making a false report, and evading arrest. Now, how you miss all of that, vetting this guy to represent you, I don't know. Unless you really didn't care. You just wanted somebody who was going to help spread your racist bullcrap. That's what I think. I think you knew good and well who you were getting involved with. I really do. I don't think that the Anthony family cared about um who Dominique was. I really don't. I think they saw somebody who had been in the news, who was good at drumming up a bunch of race stuff, and in their mind, there couldn't have possibly been any other reason for their child to do this other than race. So wasn't no need to look at anything else. Maybe my child, maybe that incident that happened back in February, maybe there was something more to that. Maybe I need to take some accountability, as our friends in the chat said. Sandy McCracken says, no doubt that Karmelo did it. Well, no, we don't have any doubt. He said he did it. He's right, flat out said it's not alleged. I did it according to the police report. We still have to say alleged though, because he's not convicted. But you know, That's what we have here. And so that takes me to the family. What kind of family did this young boy come from? So I found out, I saw a post on social media. His parents have not been married for very long. I believe it's less than 10 years. So around 2018 or 19, the dad posted, happy 3-year anniversary. So I'm like, oh, okay. So they haven't been married, for certainly not 17 years. Okay. But they have, so it was so weird too. The post was like 12 years of friendship, 3 years of marriage. What? Like, I'm sorry. 12 years of friendship and 3 years of marriage. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's me because maybe I'm doing too much. My daughter tells me that I do too much. Mom, you do too much. So I could be doing too much. I don't think I'm doing too much, but that's just a weird post to me. Maybe I'm just, I'm pissed, about all of this stuff, and maybe I'm just a bucket. Okay, ever Dominique is not a lawyer. This dude, okay, Dominique Alexander is not an attorney. When he says representing them, he's not talking about representing them legally. The attorney Howard, I think his name is Michael Howard, that's their attorney. Okay. Dominique, Neek, how you doing? Is not the attorney. So they didn't hire him to be an attorney. They hired him as their PR person, basically, which the funds have now gone from for legal fees to um legal fees, and they put in there uh their PR or something like that, like consultants or something like that. I forget. So it's Keisha has 6 months of marriage and not to the father of her children is what it sounds like to me. Oh, well, you are definitely clocking. Yes, we have been married. This is my second marriage. We have both been married before. And yes, we have 6 months of marriage, 6 months of happily married. So what's your point? um, but what is funny is because I know the devastation of not, even though my first marriage, I had children in wedlock and all that, but not, I was still a feminist. I still, thank you very much, um, Mr. Man. Um, there were a lot of things that I needed to change in order to be a good wife for my husband now, who is a phenomenal man. Phenomenal, phenomenal. I cannot thank God enough for him. Um, oh, okay. So you was saying he knows that he's not the attorney, but his comment also applies to public relations people. Okay, cool. All right. So what I didn't talk about in my last video about this, what I didn't really go into what the mother said. It was a lot, the crying and all of the things. Mhm. It was kind of, I didn't really want to just dive in on her, but it's been some time, and there are some things that I really wanted to talk about that was kind of bothering me that I really didn't dig into. But so let's do that now.
Taking her a lot of strength, y'all, to come and do this today.
Okay. I don't know why this bothers me. This bothers me. um Do y'all see the little smirk? Like when I don't know. Like, I'm trying to be fair and balanced. I'm really trying to give her grace. This is a lot, even though her son did what he did. But I mean, the father is Tish and Tampa. The father, he's right here. But I don't know what's up with the smirk. What is up with that? Like, watch, look at this.
And it has taken her a lot of strength, y'all, to come and do this today.
I don't know why it bothers me. Anyway, let's move on.
And I want you guys to respect her as she read this and giving her the respect that she deserves, y'all.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Hayes. I am the mother of...
Why didn't you use your husband's last name? That gives feminist vibes to me. That gives weak man. It gives weak man. It gives feminist vibes, which says a lot. Alethea says, I believe the Anthony dad's silence speaks volumes about who is leading his household. This is such a tragedy that should have never occurred. That's what I believe, and that's what we are going to be getting to, because I think this is it's, and I'm using this obviously because this story is in the news, but we're going to go deeper and talk about the bigger problem. They are just a representation of so many Black families. So many. Okay.
Karmelo Anthony. 3 years ago, my family moved to North Texas, searching for a better life.
Okay, also, they're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's where Karmelo was born. That's where they're originally from. Hence her accent. But there is some broken English and all that stuff too. So, but anyway, just to...
Like so many other families, we wanted to give our children the future we did not have. My husband worked hard every single day to provide for us, to make sure we're in the best financial position possible. As a stay-at-home mom, I made it my life's mission to ensure our children...
Okay, that was another thing for me. Why didn't she say as a stay-at-home wife and mother? Like, I am a stay-at-home wife and mother. I don't know any stay-at-home wives and moms that don't put the two together. Do y'all? Am I tripping? I'm really not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to like nitpick her to death. I just, like, something about this is just weird. My husband's like, no, honey, it's simple. They don't have control over their child. Like, it's you doing all, it's just they don't have control over their child. Their child is wilding, and either they don't know or don't care, and they are allowing him to be this way. But that's what my husband, he's like, look, they're not good parents. Let's continue. But wife and mom, I don't know. Okay, Aaron Rose says I'm right. Like, isn't that like? Don't you say I'm stay-at-home wife and mother because you want to give honor to your husband? I'm his wife, and I'm the mother of his children. Like, I don't understand that. Anyway, maybe it's because they haven't been. I don't know. That just is weird to me.
Are loved, nurtured, and supported every step of the way. In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations.
Now, that's true. But I'm like my friend Blanche. Prove it. prove it that you were lied about, or lied on, and all of the threats. Because from, I'm sure there have been, but this overwhelming, I don't know. I'm sure there are people. I mean, your child did do something extremely heinous. He did take the life of an innocent person. Like, as far as we know, from what the report is so far. Exactly, Tish. Who was harassing her and her younger children? Black, white people ain't thinking about, like, I really don't know. I don't know.
Accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to start, but there's so many things. It's like, yeah, it's like she's saying stuff that is obvious. Like, yes, you, because of the gravity of like what happened was a big freaking deal. Like, what did you expect? Like, I don't understand why she's saying these things like this, because she should have started off with the very first thing. I am so sorry my son took your son's life. Like, that should have been the number one first statement, which I have to give props to. I think it's Pop and Politics who brought that up. Like, that should have been the very first statement. And it really should have. It absolutely should have. That should have been the very first thing that came out of your mouth. My heart goes out to the Metcalf family. And then I think maybe we could have been able to digest her a bit better. But the fact that you're still doing the victim thing. It's like you're so, like, the blackness is like clouding your mind. You got to be the victim. You can't even right now, when it's not about you. It's somebody's life was lost. Just so unnecessarily, a preventable death. And you getting up here like, oh, I'm overwhelmed because people are threatening me. Well, I mean, it's like it's not, you're not being sensitive to the situation, and it's annoying.
Lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms.
Now, I don't agree with that. I don't think you should do that. I am not into the doxing stuff. Don't do that. That is, that is not right.
My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family. His mental health is deteriorating day by day.
That was another thing. Why would you say that about your husband? Like, your husband's supposed to be the pillar of strength. You're going to go on national TV and say my husband's mental health has been deteriorating every day. Are you freaking great? Like, I don't know, y'all. I just think that is so, I don't know. I feel like that's disrespectful to your husband. That makes him look like a whole punk. I mean, he doesn't speak at this press conference, which I get it. They want her. So this is part of media and marketing, all that kind of stuff. The disheveled hair, the no makeup, which I go through went through her social media. She doesn't wear a lot of makeup anyway. She's definitely not like me. I got the blush and the lipstick and eyeshadow. I'm that girl. I love makeup and stuff. But she doesn't wear a lot of makeup, but she wears more than this. This is I just rolled down a bed. I'm just so stressed. I don't know what to do. Let me get up here. This is performative. This is for the cameras. But I do think that saying that about your husband is weird. And yes, skipping ain't easy. He sat up there and agreed with it. Like, no, I'd have been like, okay, I don't know, but I would have never said that. But that's weird to me. Skiving Ain't Easy says, as a father, why would my mental health be deteriorated for my oldest child committing a crime if I still have a whole family to provide for? That's what I'm saying. Like, you took a leave of absence, you stopped going to work, and is that supposed to de-stress us or put more stress on us? Oh, or are you counting on all this money you about to get? See, this is, you should have just stayed quiet.
We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful.
Ma'am, your son killed someone. I don't know if you know, but she might be fearful of her brother because the school is like, he allegedly brought a knife to school. I mean, it's not exactly the most comfortable situation. I'm just saying.
Of what might happen to her. And let me be.
And the anger that just like busted out of nowhere was a little weird. Now, I've had death threats, because you can't be Black and say what I say. And Black people will, find what the things some Black people find truth so intolerable that they want to cause harm to you. I'm just saying, like, people, and it is scary. Girl, I was just texting that and stopped. Yeah. And I'm going to go back. I'm just going to play this. I'm going to try to get through it, but I want to read the comments after, because if I keep stopping, we'll never finish.
Be clear. The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made.
Why don't you just give her
I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to.
What rights are being denied? And who's discriminating against you, man? Like, who? What are you talking about? Who is discriminating against you? Who? And what rights is he not being afforded? This is what makes people not want to take you seriously, because we know BS when we hear it. Ugh.
He's been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love.
Stability. All right, Louisiana. Y'all better get y'all public schooling together, okay?
And we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state. But those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in the legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family
That was it. Moving right along.
From the
My heart truly goes out to you, skipping right over that, moving right along. Thank y'all for supporting me, though. And please continue to support.
bottom of our hearts, we ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
I'm sorry, y'all. I did not realize this was going to irritate me. So bad. Skipping ain't easy said the husband is such a good wife, right? Like just wiping the tears. Like it just gave the ick. Like, why didn't you just give her the Kleenex? Like, stop trying to like be husband of the year. Like, please. There's social media. So I was just looking, just being nosy. I don't see much about God. I don't see anything about God. I see foul language around your kid. And listen, I'm not trying to be nitpicky about the family, with the post and everything. I'm just saying, like, when I see that on your social media, y'all living it up. We're just going here, we're traveling there. And, the kids have steak and lobster and lamb. And we're on this vacation, a surprise. They took Karmelo on a surprise Sweet 16, trip to the cruise. Great. That's great and wonderful. But the foul language in front of your children, your young children, it just, the way he acts, the father I'm talking about, he has a lot of pictures with, like, I don't know if he's a Q, an Omega. It's a black fraternity with his tongue sticking out. He's not doing the ear things, but it just gives, I love money, I want to flex. I want to flex for the gram, even though I'm a grown man. I got a whole family. You want to, you doing everything to stunt. Like, that's what it looks like. Y'all are, he has pictures where he's like in a vulgarly grabbing her butt, like, it's not giving putting God first at all. Like, it's not giving that. And I know, like, behind the scenes, we all have our personal private ways that we are. Skipping ain't easy. She says donations in Dr. Umar's voice. Yes, it's just giving more, like, that's what they're about. And so to me, all of this makes sense with picking Neek. All of this makes sense with the pushing for more money. All of this makes sense with coming to the cameras, the snotting and the tears and all of this. It just makes sense. And I'm going to pretend to be a strong leader on the gram, which I guess that means you're a strong leader. I mean, in today's world, if you can show, you got a nice car and house and you're on trips and stuff, that, that's supposed to mean that you're like a good guy these days. It don't. I know my English is not, I'm being funny, but it doesn't mean that. But that's what they do. Popping bottles. Oh, we over here. Y'all know what I'm talking. Y'all have seen this kind of couple. That's the like, the flamboyant suit and his mannerisms. Yes, y'all know exactly, the bow tie. Like, stop. Like, all right, you do well. You should. Like, you live in America. Land of the free, home of the brave. Go get it. That's what this country is about. But like other people in America, when you leave your kids with stuff and you don't instill them with things, when you don't leave them something inside of them and you just want to put the stuff on the outside, the clothes, the shoes, I'm fresh to death. I got my drip, I'm dripping, all the stuff. You're not leaving anything in your children. And this is how you get a Carmelo Anthony. Sorry, Sandy. I'm trying to watch the comments, and I got all this stuff going through my head. I'm trying to make sure I talk about, and then yes, so I need to just stay focused on what I want to say and stop trying to look at the comments. But this is how you get a Carmelo Anthony. When you're not leaving anything in your children, when you're just giving stuff to your children. You cannot neglect the proper raising of your children. Like, you can't just expect to send them off to school and the school just do all the hard stuff for you. That's not going to happen, especially in America's public schooling system. If y'all have been following me for a while, y'all know I pulled my children out a few years back, during 2020, when we felt like the schools were out of control, because they are. These schools are honestly making children worse. So when you first, you have your children, you're instilling all these values into them, good values, hopefully. And then you send them to school, and y'all know, if you've sent your kids to public school, they come home and you're like, where'd you get that from? What, like, how did you start picking that up? Why did you say, like, where'd that word come from? And you start to see it very young, but you just dismiss it. And then you think, as they grow up, you think all of these changes that they're going through is normal. It's not. It is not normal for kids to act like this. But the school, your children spend so much time in school. Think about it. They are there 5 days a week for 13 years for 7 to 8 hours a day. The school's values are going to be into the child. And so with sports and homework and all of this stuff, you don't even know your child anymore. So it could very well be that this mom has no idea clearly who her child really is. She has no idea because the school has been raising him. And she don't look like she been keeping on tabs, with all of this stuff. Because if your child was suspended for bringing a knife, if that is true, why didn't you know where his behind was? Why was he even at a track meet? Because when I was growing up, I was a cheerleader and on the dance team. And if we wanted to stay a cheerleader and be on the dance team, baby, them grades had to be right. And if I had gotten in trouble, I wouldn't trouble and then get to go to a track meet? Child, please. Who? I would not be able to go anywhere. Nowhere. My parents did not play that. You don't get to, act up at school and then still get to, go to a track meet when you're not even supposed to be there. All that's a place. It's assuming that's true. So I just find this family kind of like the prototype of what is going on in so many other Black American families. And I know that they are, a two-parent household. But even if you have a two-parent household and the man is not leading the household, you are still out of order. And you are still going to be causing chaos. And you will still have a lot of problems because the children need a strong father to settle, to get rid of chaos. to settle things, to not be, for them to be properly raised. The father needs to be the head of his home. That's how it has to be. I mean, that is why the Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should go. Husbands, love your wives. Wives, respect your husbands. Two totally different commands, because one is male and one is female. We need different things, just like boys and girls need different things. And if they're not getting the strong male in the home, you're not going to get the child. Your children aren't going to be, they're not going to get the best. Not saying that they can't turn out well, they're just not going to be the best. And this kind of, it seems like this mom just didn't really know, like, if your child was suspended, why is he at a track meet? Like, how you're a stay-at-home wife and mom, you're not working. There's some great you can have grace for that. But like, why was he, if that is true, let's just say that journalist is right and he was suspended for the knife back in February and he wasn't supposed to be there. But then why would he be suspended for that long? I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. But let's just say that is true. Why is he there? It just doesn't sound like this is, kind of everything is where it needs to be as far as the home is concerned. All right. So now let me read these comments. And thank you. Let's see. Thank you, Deborah Leone, for the $5 super chat. She says they're skeletons and they will definitely come out. It's very, very obvious. That's what I think. I really do. I really do. Alethea says, I think I read this one already. I believe the Anthony dad speaks volumes about who is leading the household. This is such a tragedy that should not have occurred. Agreed. Brando, hi Brando, says, yes, I question why the wife is talking at all. I mean, I don't even think that I would be, I wouldn't have been out there. Like it would just have been better for them to just zip it. DP, hello DP. She says she gotta give Jasmine cockeyed her wig back. Stop. Oh gosh. Let's see. Brando also says Austin Metcalf. I've only seen the father talking. The mom did come out, like she did do an interview, but she could barely get through it. Her son, she just she couldn't speak. Oh, but Skipping Ain't Easy over on Instagram says the journalist said he cut school the day of the track meet. Gotcha. Okay, you're correct. She did say that. Let's see. Ooh, having a hot flash. Alethea 846 says she should not be speaking to the press at all. I agree, especially when your child is under, like, that would be respecting the legal process. Like, just don't say anything, because when they arrest you, to say anything you say or do can and will be used against you. Like, be quiet, girl. Let's see. Brenda says, quote, looking for a better life. No. They have a PR person and it sounds a mess still. Yeah. Looking for a better life. Yeah. Apparently that's why they moved to Texas. Let's see. Lady B says, I even thought for a moment to myself, maybe she did try her best with raising him, but he is one of those unruly kids, and she knows he is in deep this time. But as a mother, she's still trying to support him. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I can't even say, well, I don't know. Your child, like, your kid. And what I wouldn't do is, if I know my child probably did this and I know their track record, and I'm like, I would just be quiet. Like, I wouldn't even be trying to play with the Metcalf family. Like, I'm not gonna play with you. You have lost your child. I'm not gonna play those kind of games. I wouldn't have been out there. Brando says, if my son is already a media story with all the public commenting, I'm not about to also offer up my wife for media scrutiny. Good point. Great point. Yeah, I do not think my husband would have been like, oh yeah, Keisha, just go there. Yeah, let's go talk. No, I don't think so. Sandy says Dominique's record, felony injury to a child against, yes, we read that. Lady B said, what also pissed me off was him putting Austin's dad out. Shake my head. Yes. So he said that he wanted to come and pray with them, which doesn't seem far from, the kind of person that he is. When it first happened, he was like, I forgive them, which I can tell you right now, that it would have took me some time. That would have taken me some time. Um, yeah, I think they could have handled that so much better, but they got freaking Neek. How you doing, Alexander? So what he's going to try to create a moment out of every single thing. This guy, he's a race hustler. He a hustler. He a hustler. Okay, that's what he does. He's gonna try to make a moment out of every single thing. Let's see. Stimulated student says, if you're a mother, you should be able to speak from your heart, not a script. Brando says this is coming off as a stage event at this point. I don't get why they would have the mother speaking at a press conference with the father off to the side. Does he talk worse than her? Oh, God, that would be. We don't need any more bad talking, especially after Homeboy. Let's see. Alethea says, I often to say that about her husband standing right there. Yeah, that was a low blow to me. Why is she even commenting on her husband's employment? So tech. I just did not think that was a good look. Tish in Tampa says he admitted to the boy, not the time to play victim and make it all about you and yours. Exactly. Like, that should have been the first thing that came out of her mouth. I am sorry for the loss of this child. He already admitted it. It's not like you're trying to, like, the defense, self-defense or not, yeah, but we know he did it. He said he did it. He did it. Oh, that's not the question. So why not say that up front? It's not like you talk. If you're going to speak, that is definitely what you should have said in the beginning. Let's see. Eunice Hernandez says her daughter is stressed out because she doesn't feel comfortable with her brother in the house. I mean, could you imagine if you had a sibling that did something so wild and crazy like that? And I just have to assume that he's done other stuff, because nobody just wakes up and gets a shove or a little or a push. Even if you pushed him, you don't just turn around and shank somebody. Like, that's not, you didn't do that today. You brought the knife. So clearly you think you about that life, even though you live in the suburbs. Y'all in a $800,000-$900,000 home. You got cars all over the place. You're not living in the hood. But like I said before, young Black kids, and it's not just young Black kids anymore. This part of Black culture is spreading to other cultures. Young Black kids, Asian kids, white kids. Black culture is cool and highly influential. People want to be thugs. And the kids, I don't understand this. Why these affluent kids want to be thugs. He has no idea. Like, you don't come from that. Well, I don't know. Maybe he came from that in Baton Rouge or something like that. But you're not living that stuff. Like you're not. Like stop the cap. You're not. It's so ridiculous. Let's see. They taught Gary Carnegie says they taught Karmelo hate. Sorry, I call them as I see them. Okay. Eunice says, I was a single mother and there was stability in my home. She needs to stop. It's hard to do, but you can do it because there was, when I was a single parent, there was stability in mine too. It is tough to do, but you can do it. It didn't start raining till after the stabbing. Is that true, Deborah? I did not know that. Baby, this is a Tubi play-by-play. I'm sorry, Lady B. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. Bad Gurdon says they didn't put God first. If they did, Karmelo would have found a more peaceful way to handle the situation. Murder should never be the first course of action. Agreed. Eunice says, a spoiled brat trying to be a thug. Sad he ruined his life. That's what I think. Black culture is vanity. Stimulated student says. Oh, this person's Carrie writes, it sounds like somebody is jealous. Goodbye. Probably when I was talking about their life, like, you know, they look like they live in a very fancy life. Jealous. I'm definitely not jealous. You know, by the grace of God, my children are not hemmed up are being accused of this. They're actually doing very well. So no, I am not jealous of the Anthonys. Okay, far from it. Kirivan Yam says, is the story about Carmelo saving a drowning boy true, or is it a white woman saved a young boy named Carmelo? That's what I heard. I didn't, you know, that's what I heard that the real story is. I never really looked into it. He was, even if it was him, this happened when he was like really young. And I don't know. I don't know, but you know, I'm going to look into it. Let's see. Sandy says, yes, why isn't she using the Anthony name? And why is her husband in the background and not leading? Child, your guess is as good as mine. Tish in Tampa says, it's amongst all the races, especially in the inner city. I'm from Baltimore, so I've seen it with what that family is doing, is going through. Who would be jealous? Exactly. Like, I don't, it's like, yeah, I'm definitely not jealous. Sandy says, I think the Anthony couple is strange. Okay, so y'all are my people, because Eunice and Sandy and y'all have said, yeah, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but something seems off with the parents. Like it just does. Like off in the sense, and I think we're all kind of sharing the same sentiment. Not off like it's like off like something isn't adding up, that what you're presenting, what you're saying about Carmel, like all of this stuff, and these like things that we're noticing with like that part, it's not adding up. It's something like doesn't seem like it's right. It doesn't seem like, oh, this was truly a kid who was the 3.7 student. And I was just thinking about going to college and I had no, you know, I don't see people like that just wake up one day and just stab somebody. Like something's off. Something ain't right, because that just doesn't happen. It is rare. That is like that, you know, there is something in his there's something here that ain't is something is afoot. Lisa says people have said Carmelo's social media prior to that day had a lot of violence and etc. on it, even if deleted, it can be found. True. I did see the picture of him, with the middle finger holding guns. I mean, like, why? These kids want to be thugs. Brando Smith says, Amen. I grew up in a 2-parent household with a dad who did not lead. I didn't realize what was wrong until a few years ago in my late 30s. I'm telling you, you don't realize of the stuff that you missed, that your parents didn't put in you, that you didn't get until you get older. And then you're trying to make your own family out of your own rubble, when we don't realize that we didn't get some of the very foundational things that we needed growing up. Thank God for God's grace and mercy, that some of us got it later. Thank God, because some people don't ever get it. They just keep going around and around in circles. I'm trying to get to the promised land. I'm not trying to be in the wilderness forever. Let's see. Lisa says, is that his birth mother, or is the birth mother a skeleton in the closet? So my husband does not think that that's his father. And I said, well, honey, he has his last name. Could have adopted him. Like maybe maybe he adopted him young. But I do think that that's his dad, but they just didn't get married until later. Like they were having the kids. I think they had all of their children when they got married. But who knows? Something's crazy. Something is going on. We just don't know. Joey Streets, who goes solo to a track meet, sits in an area that isn't designated for him to sit, and brings a knife in a book bag. It was a track meet, probably one of the least confrontational sporting events. Okay, like track. I mean, it ain't even boxing. Like, so many things. Like, what is going on in this young boy's mind? The boogeyman, new here. Hi, welcome. Let's see. Trying to read. See if there's anything. Praying for both families. I am too. I definitely am. Joyce Jamie says, notice how Michael Howard was nowhere near that press conference. A smart defense attorney would have advised Carmelo's parents not to do a press conference, but they're not listening. Okay, like the actual attorney, Michael Howard, he's probably getting overruled by Michael DeWayne, probably, because and then Michael's like, well, shoot, I got to get paid too. So yeah, y'all keep going on there and doing this, so at least I can get my cut when your son goes to jail. Grandma Vic says, and all of this whole issue has done is created more problems between blacks and whites. Not right. We all need to get along. Everything is not about race. That is so true. Hardly anything is about race. Honestly, if we're just keeping it honest, like hardly anything is legitimately about race. Even the Derek Chauvin, George Floyd. Like, I don't think George, there was zero evidence that the officer was racist. It's just like ridiculous. Everything is not about race. Leanie Cat K says there was a lull in the storms when the stabbing happened. Oh wow, I did not know that. Let's see. Bub Gum says, I also blame Jasmine Crockett. She's from Texas and always talks about white supremacy. Yes, she does. And and she's just so ridiculous. Why not just blame it on her? She's probably at fault somewhere. Leanie Cat K. She says, I saw them talk to a girl who knew Carmelo in school and said he was always starting stuff and in trouble. I saw that and I was trying to find the original because so here's the thing. Like sometimes these clips can like be taken from other stories and stuff. I think this clip is real, but I couldn't find it to verify it myself, so that's why I didn't put it in my commentary. But yes, so there is a girl, and it's very hard to find, surprisingly. Like it is very hard to find the original story. Like, what is this young lady's, or she probably don't have her name, but like, what school did she go to? Like, how does she know Carmelo? Like, all the details that they would get speaking to her. But she says, I knew him from getting in fights and stuff, but I didn't think he would go that far to take someone's life. That's a lot. So people knew, according to his peers, people knew he was the little troublemaker. I've always seen him getting in fights and stuff. That's how they know and remember when they think of Carmelo. The 3.7 GPA, well, all he was thinking about was college. Oh, he's the head of the football team. He's the head of the track team. He worked 2 part-time jobs. Well, when they think about Carmelo, don't none of that stuff come up. What they think about is, I know him from fights and stuff. That's what they know. They don't know him from, well, he's such a great kid. I mean, he leads the basketball team. He's always helpful. He's always, trying to uh, you know, make sure his grades, I mean, something. No, when they ask about you, I know him from fights and stuff. Like I don't know many kids who have a 3.7 GPA. Only thing they're thinking about is college, working 2 jobs, 2 part-time jobs. So basically a full-time job. Head of this, head of that. I don't know too many of them who just turn around one day and shank somebody out of freaking nowhere because they got a little push or a shove or somebody asked you to leave a place where you weren't supposed to be anyway. And all of this nonsense about he just wanted to get out of the rain. I don't care. I don't care if it was rain. I don't care if it was pouring down rain. If somebody asked you to leave, you should have gone with your people. Like, why weren't you with your team anyway? You supposed to be a football player, on track. What the freak is rain? Y'all do all kind of stuff in rain. Kids, rain ain't never stop. You got to tell kids to come inside out of the rain. Like this, he just like, God forbid his little raggedy hair it gets wet. This is like the punkification of boys. And this is a guy that I heard say this. Oh, he just wanted to get out of the rain. Oh, why did they have to do him like that? He just wanted to get out of the rain. He's a boy, and rain. What is rain? What? He can't get wet. I can't stand no punk. It was a guy who was saying it. Oh, all he wanted to do was get out of the rain, man. Shut up. You sound like a girl. Sorry, y'all. It just makes me, it's just such a turn off. Eunice Hernandez says, I'm so glad I found your channel. Love it. Thank you. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Lisa says, these kids are mostly minors, so witnesses' names aren't put out there. That's true. But I just couldn't find the story. If anybody sees it and can find the original clip that's not, like straight from the news channel, please DM it to me or put it in chat. I just couldn't find it. Yes, this is true. Austin was working the meet as staff, so he wasn't even there racing. So he had more of a, more of a role of, you know, staff. Like, why are you here? That would seem more appropriate for him to say, hey, why are you here? Like, you're not supposed to be over here, because he wasn't even there as a, it wasn't even his track meet. He was just there helping out. Like it matches what everything else has been said about him. He's there to support. He's there helping out. He's there, you know, it matches. His last post on his Twitter was God's got me. Not like Mello with freaking, not saying it was his last post, but with guns and freaking the middle finger. Two different types of people. Like, why we got to play these games? This is so ridiculous. Like, I don't understand why Black people in particular don't want to deal with the truth about what is really going on. The longer we don't deal with all of these young kids dying, being murdered, the longer the problem continues. I wish Dominique, how you doing? I wish he would have that same energy when all those other little Black kids are unalived in Texas. Where's the same energy, Dominique? You know, since you care so much about the Blacks, the Bliggities, where is the same energy for all of these other kids, these young Black boys, where this happens every freaking day? Every day this is happening, and y'all don't have any energy for that. Y'all only have energy when it's racial. So you can tear up America, cost people billions of dollars, and then turn around and still play the victim. I do not want to turn this into a race war, but I definitely see why white folks are sick and tired of it. I do. I see why. Because what they get blamed for things that they didn't have any part of. Oh, it was slavery. It was you, slavery. You're like, my family came from England a year ago. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay. You know, what did I have to do with this? Or it's just out of control. But my prayer is that white folks don't internalize this stuff. That is let those people, don't get in the mud with them. Don't get in the mud. Don't become a victim. Everybody's blaming the white people. Don't become a victim either, because that's not gonna, it's not gonna go well for you either. Don't become the victim. Don't pay these people any attention. Let's see. Lady B says, I even heard some people on Facebook say he didn't have a knife, but it was a cleek sharpener. Like, really? The police report clearly say they recovered the knife. I swear they're pulling some out of the sky. That is craziness. A cleat sharpener? I don't even, like, what does that even look like? What does a cleat sharpener look like? That is absolutely crazy. Eunice, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. Thank you. Grandma Vic says, I'm so glad I found your channel. I sub to you. God bless you always. Thank you so much, you guys. That means so much to me. It really does. Grandma Vic also says, God bless you all here. God bless you as well. And she says, you all have a great night. You as well, Grandma Vic. Lisa Elliott says, saw a tragic story today. Another 17-year-old already accepted into college and on pre-math path shot and killed Easter morning. It has to stop. All this senseless bloodshed. It does. Like, what in the world? It's this lack of care for life. This just, I don't care. When America said as a whole, when we said We are cool with babies, killing babies in the womb, taking innocent life in the womb. You can't really go lower than that. How lower can a nation go? Because if you'll take that life, there isn't a life that you won't take. That is why that has been such a stain on this country, because we corporately have rejected the sanctity of life. And this is not we're not talking about abortion today, but that I truly believe that. I believe that because as a nation, I think it's part of it, because as a nation we have disregarded life as a whole. Yeah, it becomes easier to take life if we don't see innocent life being valuable. But the other part of that is squarely on Black Americans making decisions to not get married, have babies out of wedlock, and fathers leaving the home. Like, and feminine. I mean, there's so many things. It's so many things. But when you break away from those core things, when the family unit is broken and the father is not involved, not in the home, it is so much harder to raise children, that especially boys, that have their anger in the right places, because boys need anger, because sometimes they have to defend. So they need that. They just need to know how to use it properly. And so it's just not beneficial. And it's like, no matter how much this keeps happening, we're not seeing the change. Like, where is the change? Tish and Tamba says that the cleat looks like a file. Can't stab with it. It was already disproved about the cleat sharpener. Okay, cool. Leany Cat Case says, I'm not thinking of it as a race thing, but they are making it all about race now. I've seen some horrible comments calling for death of the other twin. My God, that is exactly what I said. I said this didn't start as a race thing, but it is certainly a race thing now. Michael Bell says the killing has to stop. And Leany says the celebration of thugs and making criminals role models is creating monsters. It is. It really is. And what are we going to do? And I think us having these hard conversations is one of the ways that we can start to move in the right direction. Calling people out like Dominique and saying, where are you? Have that same energy for Tyrone that just got shot last weekend by another Black person. Have the same energy, sir. Since you clearly, these are the type of people you deal with. So it should be no problem with you going over and saying, you know what? We don't need to do this. Look at what it's done to my life. I done been on high speed car chases, in and out of jail and all of this stuff. Which, side note, as I wrap this up, I was like, I wonder, when people go to jail and they're in and out, sometimes they make deals and become like informants and confidential informants and stuff like that, like assets. And, sometimes the government, I believe, will use people like that, or communists. The communists will use people like that to make these little deals with them, set them up, give them some money, help them out, and push them out there as these like race hustler types. This is well documented in history. Sad thing is, former Black young men are murdered over nothing. So justifying this murder will provoke more killing of Black boys too. That is so true. Can you imagine if Karmelo goes to jail, which he probably will? Hopefully, Blacks don't act a fool. The bliggities don't act up. So, Sandy raises a great point, and we're going to talk about this for just briefly, and then I will see you guys throughout the week and back on Monday. Sandy McCracken says she said nothing positive about her son. I think that is very telling. She didn't say anything positive about her son. Like, I don't know. That's a really great point. Like, if it was a surprise, if you were like, oh my God, like this is so crazy, you would have said, I know me. I am so sorry. I would have been so, I would have, because I really would have felt just awful. I would have been apologizing and just, if I really was surprised, I think I would have said, this is not him. I've never seen, like, I don't know what happened, but we're going to find out. And, something like that, but I think that is a really good point. Michael, so his father, you might have to rewatch it, but his father was there in the press conference. The dad is in the home, but we just kind of feel like there's something crazy going on with the parent because I don't know, just certain statements. Go ahead and watch this back, and you'll hear us just discussing that. Tish says scripture tells us we will reap what we sow, and no one gets away with anything. God is the ultimate adjudicator. In fact, he is. Let me see. I want to make sure. Did I get this? Gary, thank you so much for the super sticker, Gary. Thank you. I think I got Alethea and Deborah. Yes, I did. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go and check out other videos on my channel if you have time. Like I said, over here, we are a God-fearing group of people. We love the Lord. We are Christians, and we like to deal in truth. We want to light the world with truth. That's what Monday Night Light is all about. Yes, I'm a little silly. As you get to know me, I like to joke around and stuff like that. But I do care about these topics. And for those who are new, just briefly, back in 2017, God spoke to me and told me that my skin color had become an idol in my life and tore down all of this weight, these bondage, these chains that I had been shackled to for so many years. And it has blessed my life. It has blessed my children's life. I've spoken around the country talking about this, speaking against critical race theory in public schools. This is why I talk about things like this, because God laid this on my heart. This was not something, I did not think I would be into politics or, doing anything like this. But when God tells you to go, I went. And so if you Google me, you'll see, articles that I've written. I've been on I've done a lot of different things over the years. So for those who are new, that's my background. If you're like, why is she so passionate about this? It's because God literally told me that my skin color had become an idol and that needed to come down. He told me, if I am God of everything, surely I am bigger than racism. If I tell you that you are more than a conqueror, then you cannot go and say that you are oppressed. So whose report are you going to believe? Are you going to believe me, the God who spoke and all creation came to be? Or are you going to believe the world? I chose to believe God, and my life has never been better. I have never felt freer. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you next Monday at 8 o'clock. And I'll see you guys throughout the week as well as we talk about different other stories that are in the news. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.